Ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to bring in our graduation convocation. Please take your seats and turn off all cell phones or other noise-making electronics. Please remain seated while the faculty and graduates walk in. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to our Convocation exercises this evening. We are thrilled to welcome everyone this evening to celebrate the accomplishments of these amazing graduates of the College of Physical and Mathematical Sciences at Brigham Young University. My name is Shane Reese and I'm the Dean of the college. The purpose of these Convocation exercises is to recognize the efforts and accomplishments of each of our graduates, along with the support, sacrifice, faith, and prayers of their family members and friends, including our faculty and staff, our Board of Trustees, and the millions of church members who have helped to make this experience possible. We extend our warm welcome this morning to Sandra Rogers, International Vice President at Brigham Young University. Sandy, will you please stand and be recognized? We'd like to thank Sandy for not only being here, but to act as such a wonderful advocate for our students and shepherding them to safely travel abroad. We would also like to recognize on the stand the following academic leaders from our college. Would each of you please stand as I read your name? Jennifer Nielsen, Associate Dean. Gus Hart, Associate Dean. David Dearden, Chair of the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Kevin Seppi, Chair of the Department of Computer Science, and Michael DeRay, representing the Department of Geological Sciences. Please join me in recognizing these individuals. Others seated on the stand today will be introduced as they participate in the program. We've included a bit of background about each of these participants and invite you to get to know the students a little better by reading their short biographies. They are amazing representative of this year's excellent and incredible graduating class. We also wish to acknowledge our faculty who are seated over here to my left. Would you please stand and be recognized? Our prelude and postlude this afternoon, processional music was played by Suzette Asplund, who is the wife of Professor Matt Asplund in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Would you please join me in thanking her for the musical accompaniment? Brian Ray Ott, who is graduating with a bachelor's degree in computer science and a minor in strategy, will now offer the invocation.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come before Thee at this time, and we are so very grateful to celebrate our graduation and go forth and serve. We'd like to ask extend a special invitation to the Spirit to be with us here. We are so grateful for the faculty and administration for putting on such a wonderful event. It's a milestone in all of our lives. We'd also like to express our gratitude for the computer. Its innovation has unleashed countless blessings in our lives and of those around the world. We're grateful for the pioneers in technology who have come before us and given us so many opportunities. We'd like to ask if Thou would please grant us a special blessing as we go forth, that we'll be able to take that mantle as pioneers and continue to bless the lives of others. We say these things humbly in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Thank you, Brian. We will now have the opportunity to hear from one of our graduates, John Clayton Coleman from Orange County, California, who is graduating today with a bachelor's degree in computer science and a minor in management. After his remarks, we will have the opportunity to hear a harp performance of Claude Debussy's Arabesque No. 1 by Emily Vera Ortolano, who is graduating today with a bachelor's degree in chemistry and a minor in music. Following the musical number, we will hear from Juliana Catherine Morrison from Alberta, Canada, graduating today with a bachelor's degree in chemistry. Now we'll turn the time over to John.
Elder Monk, President Rogers, Dean Reese, esteemed faculty, families and friends, and my fellow graduates, I'm honored to be with you from our graduation from one of the best and finest universities in the world. Each of us graduating today has been immensely blessed from all of you. Thank you for making this day possible for every one of us. To my fellow graduates, congratulations. We've done it. Some time ago, you and I stepped foot on this campus for the first time. We met our first roommates. We got lost on campus. We attended our first football games and devotionals. We survived American Heritage and Riding 150. We made it through all the late nights in the library, the Talmadge, the Benson, the Marb. We made it through every finals week, marching on and on. And suddenly, today, we graduate. Not one of us is the same as the bright-eyed freshmen that we once were. Years of hard work and study have bestowed upon us the gift and burden of knowledge. Things that were once mysteries to us, things that we might have even preferred to remain mysteries, are now commonplace. Never again can we look at a statistical study without questioning the sample size or confidence interval. Never again can we see something accelerate without seeing in our minds the derivative curves. Never again can we computer science students see any app or website without questioning every single bug. And perhaps most importantly, never again will we read any research paper beyond its abstract. Kidding, of course. Today, you and I commence new journeys. Some move on to full-time jobs, others to master's or PhD programs. Yet even as our paths diverge, we are united by shared experiences known only to BYU students. As we look back, I suggest we carry with us two vital lessons I learned during my time here, which I believe apply to us all: keeping fresh eyes and moving forward with faith. Last fall, as a senior wrapping up my major requirements, I took Physics 121, a course full of first semester freshmen. It was quite the experience. However, the attitude these freshmen brought to this course was refreshing. They were thrilled to come to class every day, enthralled by the course material. And they even laughed at my professor's corny science joke he told every lecture. No offense, Dr. Ware. After a particularly brutal test, these freshmen laughed about their scores. Their excitement and their enthusiasm about the novelty of our experiences let this failure, this potentially devastating moment, roll off their backs like water. Sure, these freshmen still hadn't seen that test score come back to haunt them, or hadn't been rejected by their dream job or become otherwise disillusioned. But I think there's something in the attitude of our young classmates from which we can learn. They had fresh eyes. Every day they woke up excited and grateful for their opportunities. Every day they showed up ready to conquer the world and roll with the punches. Their belief in the novelty of their experiences enabled them to enjoy every day in ways that I, a graduating senior, did not. My fellow graduates, if we will roll out of bed every morning and make an effort to keep fresh eyes, if we will stop every so often to look around and treasure the amazing opportunities afforded to us, we will appreciate views in life that are so frequently dimmed by time and routine. The second principle I would share is illustrated by the following story. Last month, a few students and I entered a mobile app into the BYU app competition. On the day the app was due, I wrapped up a few remaining features with a few hours to spare, then began working on a video demo. The next time I looked up, it was an hour past the submission deadline. I'd lost track of time, and I blew it. Frantically, I emailed the professor overseeing the competition and begged for leniency on the deadline. For the rest of the day and all through the night, I worried that the app my team and I had spent months building would be disqualified because of my simple mistake. The next morning, however, I received an email from the professor stating, "Not to worry, your app will still be considered." You can imagine my relief and gratitude. Each of us has our own experiences that relates to this story, where by our own fault or the fault of another, we experienced anxiety, fear, or stress around the resolution of a problem. Whether the immediate result was positive or negative, you and I both know that we learned from these experiences and that everything ultimately worked itself out. Clearly, it was not our fearful emotions that led to the resolution of our problems. Rather, it was our swift actions and the mercy of others that in time led to a beneficial result. Fellow graduates, no matter the future challenge or problem, let's remember to not give in to anxiety or fear, and instead choose to have faith that our hard work and the goodness of God will lead everything to work out. In the words of Jesus Christ, Search diligently, pray always, and be believing, and all things shall work together for your good. My fellow graduates, my fellow Cougars, just pause and take it in. We made it. Might we learn to savor this and every moment ahead of us? Just as we now look back on our early freshman days with fondness, someday we will look back on this day and the coming days ahead with a similar sense of nostalgia. Let's take all that we've learned here and go forward as the newest graduates of Brigham Young University with fresh eyes and a firm hope in the future that lies before us. Thank you.
I was a young child, I chose to study chemistry at Brigham Young University so that I could become a scientist like my grandpa. So after I survived Dr. Savage's organic chemistry course, I put in my mission papers and was called to serve a mission in Cleveland, Ohio, with a specific assignment to serve at the historic Kirtland Visitor Center. I spent a year as a missionary before being involved in a horrific motor vehicle accident and that caused a myriad of near-fatal injuries. When I woke up from a coma several weeks later, I was shocked to discover that I had sustained a shattered pelvis, damaged lungs, a fractured skull and neck in a few places, and nerve damage that had caused near paralysis of much of my left side. I was grateful to be alive, of course, but devastated to hear that I would likely never return to university or even have meaningful employment again. I soon began a strict regimen of occupational, physical, speech, and respiratory therapy. President Dallin H. Oaks had told me that my new mission was to recover from my accident and to graduate from Brigham Young University. So as I lay in the hospital for weeks, unable to speak or even sit up on my own, the promise of being able to return to BYU one day filled me with hope. As the months of rehabilitation continued, although my physical improvement was apparent, I was troubled by concussion symptoms that did not seem to lift. After extensive cognitive testing, I was diagnosed with a severe brain injury, which had caused potentially permanent and cognitively serious impairment. As my goal of returning to BYU appeared impossible, some doctors kindly suggested that perhaps I should transfer to an easier school, or maybe to an easier field, one where I might have a hope of succeeding. But I firmly held on to my childhood goal of graduating as a chemist, and so my faithful therapists used their education to teach me countless creative strategies to overcome chronic fatigue and learn how to think and how to read again. After 18 months of full-time rehabilitation, I finally received medical clearance to return to BYU. As my physical and cognitive recovery was and still is ongoing, I am profoundly grateful for the financial assistance that I received through generous academic, private, and accessibility center scholarships. I'm also thankful for the abundant work opportunities provided within our college, having served as both a teaching assistant and as a research assistant. These opportunities would not have been possible if not for generous donors who looked beyond themselves to help the rising generation. Today we celebrate a great milestone as we graduate from BYU. But we didn't put in all those years, we didn't pull all those all-nighters, and we didn't cry all those tears just to get a piece of paper with President Worthen's signature on it. We were developing a foundation for our lives. We were learning communication skills that would benefit us for the rest of our lives as we languished away on those group projects. We were gaining technical knowledge that expanded our capacity to benefit society. We studied so we could feed Christ's sheep just like he asks us to, or at least to try. We studied so we could change the world, at least for someone. And if not us, then who? Through my experiences both in rehabilitation and here at BYU, I have become more aware of the chronic needs of those who suffer physically, cognitively, emotionally, or in countless other ways. Although anybody can be of service, some categories or types of service can only be performed by those who have paid the price to become qualified and skilled. 3 years ago, my life was saved by capable surgeons, but in just as real of a way, it was saved by capable nurses and occupational, physical, speech, and respiratory therapists. It was saved by caring professors and employers who were in a position to help in a way that no other well-wisher was. We entered BYU to learn, but now let's use the gift of our education to go forth and serve those who need it the most. And if we work with diligence and focus on helping other people, we'll see miracles happen as we fulfill our purpose here on earth. Thank you.
Thank you, Clay and Juliana, for your remarks. They were perfect remarks for a perfect day. Thank you, Emily, also for the music, which was beautiful and stirring. We will now have the privilege of hearing from Elder Dale H. Monk of the 70, and we would also like to extend a special welcome to his wife, Joanne Monk, who is with him, seated next to him on the stand. Elder Monk grew up in Idaho and earned BS and MBA degrees from a university to the north of here. On a personal note, Elder Monk is a bit of a hero for me. He was my stake president and taught me profound lessons in leadership, caring for and loving the individual, and last but not least, the importance of being punctual. Elder Monk started every meeting 2 minutes before its appointed time. I am thrilled that he accepted our invitation to share some thoughts with our graduates today. And so without further delay, I turn the time over to Elder Dale H. Monk of the 70.
My young brothers and sisters, family members, friends, it's a great honor for me to be here with you this afternoon, and it is also a great honor to occupy the podium here with Dean Reese. He's a man of considerable technical skill, as you know, but he's also a man of profound humanity, as you may or may not know. I know him in that way and appreciate so much being here with him. You've accomplished much, and we're here to congratulate you for that. We hope that you will be sure to express appreciation and gratitude to those who've helped you along the way and helped you be here. In 1977, my wife Joanne and I were poor college students at that college to the north. During the winter, we sent out 72 applications letters. Now, this was in the time when an application letter actually was on paper. And then we spent the next several weeks or months checking the mail. We sit on our porch. We had a little duplex in Salt Lake. It's just a wonderful little place. We sit on the porch and read rejection letters. And when we were almost to the end of our 72 rejection letters, we just had a few to receive, we were pretty worried. We weren't sure what the job situation was going to be. I received a phone call one afternoon from a man that I didn't know, and his first words were, "Do you have a brother named Russell?" I said yes, whereupon he asked if I'd be willing to come to Boston for an interview. He and Russell apparently had been in school together in Boston years before that. He told me that if I was anything like my brother, the job was mine. I wasn't, but I faked it just long enough to get hired. That's how my career started, on the laurels of my brother. And I bound and determined not to forget that. Many people help us along the way. The Lord said, "And in nothing doth man offend God, save those who confess not his hand in all things." And I think given the connection, the close connection between the love of God and the love of our fellow men and our neighbor, that applies to God's help directly and his help also through the many others that assist us. And there will be many throughout your lives. For many years now, we've told you that you're wonderful, that you're good and even great. We've told you that you are saved for the latter days. Could I suggest to you that you are good and you are great when you do things that are good and great? Very few people in the world will recognize you as anything more than a new college graduate entering the workforce until you do those things that are good and great. Over a 35-year career, I think that I learned something about what it makes a good employee. Along the way, there were many hirings and terminations, some quite unpleasant. But as I recall, there were very few terminations or firings, if you will, for the lack of skill. Universally, it was the character issues, work ethic, getting along with others, respect for authority, teachability, team play, and followership, which of course is the precursor to good leadership. Your professional skill will be what is often referred to as a necessary but not sufficient condition for your success. For example, your work ethic underpins everything you do. Without a strong work ethic, you can project the impression of entitlement, one who is expecting something for very little effort. Just as you surely do not expect a grade here at BYU when you have not put in the effort to earn it, you must not expect praise and respect from supervisors and coworkers without more than average effort on your part. In the last year of our MBA program, I took a business law class from a guy named Ralph Mabey. My grade at the end of the quarter was a C+. I called Mr. Mabey on the phone to complain. He listened patiently for my argument and then said, well, what would you like me to do? I said to him, well, I'm pretty sure that I learned at least a B. He said, well, Dale, I'll raise your grade to a B if that's what you'd like me to do, but you deserve a C+. Of course, my conscience gave me no real choice but to accept the C+. Well, I appreciate so much that lesson and that conversation. I will remember it as though it happened yesterday. Most of the time in life, you don't get something for nothing. Be skeptical of anyone who says different. Joanne and I moved to Boston with a pretty good paycheck. We bought a sweet little Cape Cod home, and then, to our surprise, found that we, like before, had no money left. A flyer came in the mail advertising a new condo development in the White Mountains of New Hampshire. Those who came for a visit would receive a free grandfather clock. Since we had no furniture in our new home except a bed, this sounded like a pretty good deal. So we drove the 2 hours north, heard the presentation, and made some lame excuse for not being interested. The presenter thanked us for coming and turned and went into another room. Now, I'm a little embarrassed to tell you that I said, hey, wait a minute. What about the grandfather clock? He turned around. He said, oh, I'm sorry. Yes. He went in another room. He came out with a cardboard box. It was about this long. It was about this high. It was about this wide. I thought to myself, that's no grandfather clock. Well, surely it was a grandfather clock. Pressboard sides, battery operated with a plastic face, batteries not included, and it was about 3 feet high. Didn't look anything like the picture that they showed in the brochure. Well, on the way home, we laughed at ourselves. The joke was on us. Don't expect something for nothing. Don't feel entitled to things you have not earned. Earn everything that you receive. In our world, victimhood has become a spectator sport. It seems that everybody's a victim of something. A victim blames other people, events, or circumstances for his or her failures. This is deadly, and it's debilitating. It can come to define us and becomes an excuse for everything that goes wrong in our lives. Sister Monk and I were sitting at home one evening reading together when our daughter, Katie, called. She lived in Las Vegas and had just completed a master's degree from the University of Florida in physical therapy and was working for a company down there and dating a boy named Steve. And she said, hey, Dad, Steve and I are going to Nauvoo in a couple of weeks to see the new temple there and visit Nauvoo. How would you and Mom like to come? I said, that'd be great. We looked at the calendar and I said, I'm sorry, honey, the calendar's just full. There's no time. So we talked for a bit, and then she said, now, Dad, you know, this new temple in Nauvoo is historic, and you love Nauvoo, and why don't you and Mom find a way to come? And I said, honey, some of this stuff just can't be moved on the calendar. I'm sorry, we can't go. And then I gave her a little lecture about travel plans for getting there with Steve. And finally, an exasperated Katie said, Dad, Steve and I are getting married in the Nauvoo temple in 2 weeks. Are you going to come or not? Well, we were all there and we had a great time. But here's the point of my story. In Nauvoo, I was standing on the road, staring at a home that my great-great-grandfather built. Beautiful brick home. It still stands there. We didn't know that Steve's great-great-great-grandfather had built a home right next door. Both beautiful brick homes. Now, we were there in December, and as I stared at these homes, it was very cold, almost miserable, and I began to think about the expulsion of the saints in February of 1846, our own families included. And I thought about this home, and I thought, sort of tongue-in-cheek, I said, we didn't receive the value for this home. Maybe I'm deserving somehow of of this residual value, and now it's in the hands of someone else. Well, brothers and sisters, notwithstanding expulsion, violence, murder, the confiscation of property, and persecutions of all kinds, the brother have never allowed us to consider ourselves victims. We are not victims. They have only preached personal responsibility, self-reliance, and acting for ourselves. We are not victims. You are not victims. In the early years of my career, there were many forces at play influencing me to go along, to get along. Every company has its politics, its influential players with whom one needs to curry favor, and its own mores that can be either good or bad. At my new computer company, or my new company that I went there, it was a Digital Equipment Corporation, had a very promiscuous subculture. Drinks with the boss at lunch and dinner seemed to be career enhancing. The language was terrible, almost culturized, as if everyone seemed to parrot the same vulgar phrases. With a 35-year retrospect here, I can say with confidence that embracing these things in your new jobs to get ahead provides at best a temporary advantage and at worst a family disaster. It may not always be evident, but we are respected when we practice gospel values in the workplace, even if those values are not popular. One of the annoying parts of my new job was the language. It was terrible. After 6 months, I remember a unique experience. We were in a conference room with a bunch of folks from my group, and someone said something that was rather inappropriate and vulgar, and then he stopped, and he looked at me, and he said, "Sorry, Dale." I thought, well, this is unusual, but I began to observe in the coming months the language getting a little better and a little better. When I left after 4 years, it was pretty normal, frankly. Now, I had never said anything, and I don't take any credit for that. But here's the point. You're going out and you're going to have fine careers. You're going to have fine families. You're going to do a lot of different things. But make no mistake, you are sent from here to be a light to the world. That is an obligation that you take forward from this great university. You are there to be a light to the world for those who are not familiar with our gospel principles. Now, if we had more time this afternoon, we might elaborate on some of the following general statements. You can think about these after the fact. 1, your time at the university will not be the busiest time of your life or the time when you work the hardest. School is the easy part. Number 2, it's a smart idea to learn the true meaning of the words fairness, equality, and tolerance. 3, do not allow someone else to determine your truth or do your thinking for you. Number 4, don't waste time on social media and games. Number 4.5, don't waste time on social media and games. You don't have time. There is too much for you to do in your futures to make an impact. And don't allow your children to do it either. Number 5, don't expect to run the company right off the bat. Go learn something. Go get good at something. Go make yourselves valuable. It's only been a few years that I have begun to think about what legacy I will leave behind. I'm sure that this has not crossed your mind recently, and it didn't when I was your age. A man I knew taught high school English for 45 years, and whenever I'm around folks that were familiar with him or knew him or were in his classes, they would invariably say, he was the best teacher I ever had. That's legacy. Legacy comes when we learn to devote significant time giving what we have to others. Only when we are giving to others is our life fully enriched and fulfilled. May I suggest to you, now you're going forward, your lives are about to change in a big way. Could I suggest you take that lesson and that you start with that end in mind as you go forward? May God bless you in all you do. Show gratitude. Be special by doing special. Complement your skills with character, such as a strong work ethic. Don't expect something for nothing. You are not victims. Be a light wherever you go. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Thank you, Elder Monk, for the sage advice and encouragement for our graduates today. And I wish that I could switch places with all of you parents and grandparents here today to see the looks on the graduates' faces when Elder Monk said, "School's the easy part." It's great. We know that many of you are anxious to get to the next portion of our program today, and so we are now pleased to present the graduates. Those who receive the PhD degree will have the PhD hood placed on them by their graduate advisor and their department chair. We will present diplomas first to those who receive the PhD degree, followed by master's degree recipients, and then by bachelor's degree recipients. Names of the master's and bachelor's degree recipients will be read by Associate Deans Dr. Jennifer Nielsen and Dr. Gus Hart from the College of Physical and Mathematical Sciences. As master's and bachelor's degree recipients are recognized, in order to give each graduate appropriate recognition and to respect the dignity of this occasion, we ask that you please hold your applause until all graduates from each department have had their names read. Please do not cheer or use noisemakers for any individual graduate, as that may interfere with the recognition due to the next graduate in line. We also wish to be sensitive to those graduates who may have no family present here to cheer for them today. The front row is reserved and available for you to take pictures of your graduate. The space is limited to about 20 people at a time, so please wait until your student has advanced in line before coming to the front row. Additionally, please follow the instructions of the ushers to facilitate an orderly process. And I'll just apologize in advance for any mispronunciations. And now it's my pleasure to present the PhD graduates. From the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry, Michael J. Beauchamp. For doctoral work focused on developing 3D printed microfluidic devices for the analysis of preterm birth risk biomarkers, he helped develop custom 3D printing resins in collaboration with Professor Greg Nordin in electrical engineering. And with these resins and a custom-built 3D printer, Mike created a lab-on-a-chip system for the rapid detection of molecules linked to preterm birth risk, the first such analysis in a 3D printed device. Mike's doctoral work is part of a larger collaborative effort to create an integrated, miniaturized platform for analyzing biomarkers for preterm birth risk in maternal blood. Congratulations, Michael. Emily Louise Burrell. Emily is from Holiday, Utah, and will complete her PhD under the guidance of Dr. Jaron Hansen. Her dissertation has focused on elucidating formation mechanisms for the particle formation in the atmosphere. She researched the role of I got nothing on this one. Acids, radicals, and amines as non-prototypical sources that can lead to particle formation. She accomplished this using a combination of high-level computational experimental techniques wherein she studied the kinetics and thermodynamics of ultrafine particle formation. Part of her PhD research included designing and building a new experimental instrument and designing a method that allowed for the kinetic study of particle formation. The results of her work have led to a better understanding of the role of these sources and play in the formation of particles in the atmosphere, and consequently have reduced the gap between measured and modeled particle concentrations in the atmosphere. She will defend her dissertation in July 2019. Congratulations, Emily. Okay, Sheila Ditya Chatterjee. He's trying to give me props for that. That was horrible. He applied and developed pattern recognition entropy as a tool for data analysis. He successfully demonstrated the application of his method to X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy and time-of-flight secondary ion mass spectrometry, depth profiling, mass chromatogram selection, and to the identification of autologous blood doping. In his work in mass chromatogram selection, he further developed a cross-correlation algorithm that improved the efficiency of the method. He will now take a job at Intel in Portland, Oregon. Congratulations. Brian Ivans Johnson. Brian has created and analyzed a series of surfaces and materials which are in commercial high-tech devices and in the form of advanced mirrors for NASA. Brian has extensively used X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy and spectroscopic ellipsometry in this work. Some of the technology Brian developed was licensed to a company. Congratulations, Brian. Clinton Robert King. Clinton used quantum mechanical calculations to develop a new mechanistic and reactivity theory of carbon-hydrogen bonds oxidized by a heavy p-block main group metals such as thallium and antimony. Clinton's work provided a unifying mechanistic understanding of several reactions reported several decades ago that recently emerged as a powerful strategy for hydrocarbon oxidation without using transition metals. Additionally, Clinton's work recently led to the mechanistic reinterpretation of antimony-based superacid oxidation of light hydrocarbons. Glad he did that. Congratulations, Clinton. Do-Hyun Kwan. Do-Hyun developed and used a quantum mechanical transition state model to predict new molecular chromium catalysts for controllable selective ethylene trimerization and tetramerization. One of the major accomplishments by Do was using this model to identify a new class of phosphine monocyclic imine chromium catalysts. Experiments carried out at the petrochemical company Chevron Phillips Chemical quantitatively confirmed Do's predictions, which led to several publications and patents. Congratulations. Michael James Kinghorn. Michael was raised primarily in the state of Hawaii. In the fall of 2014, Michael joined the research group of Dr. David Michaelis at BYU as a PhD student. Michael studied the development of small enzyme-like catalysts that mimic the reactivity and selectivity of nature's enzymes. These new catalysts rely on reactions and mechanisms common in organic synthesis and are not found in nature. In the process of developing these catalysts, Michael discovered a new method for stapling small peptides, which serves to stabilize their 3D structure and increase their lifetime in the body. These findings are currently being applied to the development of more effective peptide drugs. Michael is currently seeking a position in industry where he can make complex drug molecules. Congratulations, Michael. Hadi Nazari. Hadi is originally from Iran and attended the University of Tehran, where he had received a master's degree in chemistry in 2011. He entered a PhD program at BYU in 2013 and joined the research group of Dr. David Michaelis. Hadi's PhD research focused on the area of transition metal catalysis with an emphasis in the development of heterobimetallic catalysts that contain two distinct metal centers. During his studies, he discovered new and more efficient transition metal catalysts by developing new ligand structures and cooperative reaction conditions. Hadi recently started a postdoctoral position at BYU in the laboratory of Dr. Paul Savage, focusing on the synthesis of polysaccharides for the use in vaccine development. Congratulations, Hadi. Justin Lane Park. Justin applied the redox activity of Syria and to design a novel nickel-based catalyst for the conversion of ethane to ethylene at low temperature. These results have the potential to impact the energy needed for producing this important feedstock. Justin also fully characterized the oxygen exchange mechanism in the material, which is crucial in order to further optimize these processes. Justin has taken a position in industry studying and characterizing highly energetic materials. Congratulations, Justin. Diana Isabel Saavedra Nova. Diana developed a new approach to intramolecular styral. Thank you. These advisors. Diels-Alder reaction to generate polycyclic lactone products. This novel intramolecular reaction provides a direct means to assemble the lignin class of natural products found in many plants. Diana also investigated the mechanism of the reaction using density functional theory to measure the transition state energies of the cycloaddition and the hydrogen shift steps. The optimized reaction was applied to the synthesis of he's even trying to whisper, it's not helping over here. It's an anti-cancer agent, I can say that for sure. And to F4, a new antiviral compound. She will soon begin a postdoctoral position doing bioorganic chemistry. Congratulations, Diana. Monique Marilyn Perret Spears. Monique's work was the study and development and application of kinetic proteomics and lipidomics techniques to the study of cancer metabolism. This ambitious work required Monique to venture into the realms of molecular biology, organic, analytical, and physical chemistry in an effort to answer biochemistry questions. Monique's papers identified a critical lipid signaling pathway as a constant requirement for rapid growth and proliferation in pancreatic cancers. Monique's work in this area was groundbreaking and has helped define new research opportunities for new students in John C. Price's laboratory. She has carried heavy responsibilities for mentoring other young women in their efforts to work in the lab. She has elegantly shown that young women can thrive in a research-based field while maintaining a commitment to spiritual growth and family. Monique is now the proud mother of Chloe Monique Spears and leading the analytics lab at Wasatch Product Development. Congratulations, Monique. Jiming Jerry Jung. Jiming will complete his PhD in August 2019. His dissertation is focused on angiogenesis, or new blood vessel formation. Angiogenesis is involved in many disease states, including cancer and serious eye diseases. The cell surface receptor, CMG2, has been implicated in this process and validated as a new therapeutic target in vivo. While the complete molecular mechanism for CMG2's role in regulating angiogenesis has not been determined, Jiming's work has identified multiple ways by which CMG2 regulates the pathological angiogenesis. These include CMG2-mediated endocytosis of extracellular matrix proteins and fragments as a way to generate angiogenic signals by the cell. CMG2 is also required for directing endothelial cell movement towards vascular growth factors. These results can be leveraged to develop new classes of therapeutic molecules to treat diseases impacted by inappropriate angiogenesis. I hate it when there's inappropriate angiogenesis. In addition to his work in the laboratory, Jiming also became a father last week. Congratulations. And that concludes the PhD degrees in chemistry and biochemistry. Now, to present the PhD degrees in computer science, our first recipient is Zan Benjamin Anderson. Zan's dissertation opens new ground in the study of human-computer interaction for outdoor recreation. Right. In his early dissertation, Dr. Anderson used a sequential mixed method study involving nearly 1,500 participants to develop the first theoretical model of why people bring and use smartphones while hiking. He then used that model to invent a class of interactive systems that can leverage smartphones to improve rather than detract from the hiking experience. Dr. Anderson has joined the computer science faculty at Utah Valley University. Congratulations, Dr. Anderson. Christopher Allen Tensmeyer. Christopher performed research in machine learning to improve the automated analysis of documents, with a particular emphasis on understanding historical documents. His research helps computers to better differentiate between text and background, understand the structure of documents, recognize the font or text or style of handwriting, and transcribe text. His work is placed highly in a number of international competitions and currently has the world's highest accuracy in identifying scribal scripts in Latin medieval manuscripts and binarization of palm leaf manuscripts. That's a big deal. He has been supported by his wife, Nicole, and their 2 children, and he has accepted a position as a research scientist at Adobe, where he continues to research automated document understanding. Congratulations, Christopher. Nathan Scott Woodbury. Nathan Scott Woodbury's undergraduate thesis explored attack surface models for security feedback systems, laid the foundation for his graduate work, which developed the mathematics of dynamical networks as models of complex dynamic systems. His master's thesis applied to this work to models of the stock market, while his PhD dissertation solved tough mathematical problems about the well-posedness of dynamical networks, multi-scale representations of such networks, and fast, practical algorithms for learning the parameters in these network models from data. His work is published in 10 peer-reviewed publications in top-tier venues, with 2 more under review and 2 more in preparation. He will begin work at a high-tech data science firm based in Boston and Los Angeles immediately after marriage next month in the Draper, Utah Temple. Congratulations. And that concludes our doctoral degrees. We will now have Jen Nielsen and Gus Hart read the names of our MS and BS candidates.
Receiving master's degrees in computer science: Ryan Frederick Lee. Dwayne Keith Dougal. Benjamin Douglas Romney. Sean Theodore Lane. Matthew Wayne Holt. Daniel James Ricks. Javid Kennan Pack. Connor Stanley Anderson. Sheridan Jacob Powell. Robert Thomas Potterf. Alicia Banskota. Eric Robert Brewer. Esdras Ornagi Kutomi. This concludes our master's degrees in computer science.
Receiving master's degrees in geological sciences: Michael Max Goodman, Stephen Benjamin Godwin. April Anai Trevino. Timothy Jafek Barrett Rodriguez, husband of April Anai Trevino, graduating with a Master of Science in Technology. Chelsea Ann Jolly. Skylar Thomas Robinson. And that concludes our master's degrees in geological sciences. Receiving bachelor's degrees in chemistry and biochemistry, Taylor Jeffrey Lundgren. Mark Douglas Gold. Samuel Ryan Jared. Brooke Ann Plyler. Rachel Nicole Williams. Chet Oxborough. Laura Grether. Juliana Catherine Morrison. Nathan Zuniga. Stephen Andrew York. Ryan Allen Nielsen. Stephen Darrell Grossen. Wesley Allen Call. Joseph Abelardo Simpson. Micah Ann Gigi. Misael Lazaro Trigo. Alexandra Marie Thornack. Jacob John Amini. Amanda Lee Garrity. Evan Romney Myers. David Shane Swanevelt. Abriana Joy Saxton. Emily Vera Ortolano. Millicent Jael Campbell. Derek John Matheson. William Cameron Beard. Ethan Paul Dameron. Matthew Clark Austin. Brian Thomas Landro. Yang Hu Ju. Danielle Ji Young Chambers Dayton, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Food Science. Chem Ed is her second major. Nathan Brent Dayton, husband of Danielle Ji Young Chambers Dayton, graduating with a Master of Information Systems Management. Wendy Lee Williams. Megan Patricia Asplund. Camille Jackson. Kylie Marlene Lytle. Brigham Pope. Spencer David Jepson. Kimberly Larson Stern. Natalie Adele Bakar Pugmire. Nathaniel Patrick Brown. Dallin McKay Green. Kimberly Elizabeth Coronado. Caroline Olivia Hanson. Cameron Guy Jackson. This concludes our bachelor's degrees in chemistry and biochemistry.
Receiving bachelor's degrees in computer science, John Matthew Harb. David Matthew Corey. Ryan Keith West. Dallas Vincent Williamson. Benjamin Thomas Worlton. Gibson Edward Ainge. Ryan Brantley Mortensen. Claire Scott Gammon. Alexandra Powley Wilson. Benjamin Spencer Guthrie. Christopher Jacob Church. Britton D. Bunn. Samuel Reed Farnsworth. Samuel James McGee. Joseph Jacob Jones. Angela Marjorie Pope, wife of Joseph Jacob Jones, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Physiology and Developmental Biology. Benjamin DeMont Horrocks. Trevin Pratt Avery. Julio Cesar Cruz. William Thomas Keel. Autumn Marie Chapman. Austin J. Huang. Audrey Ann Fowler, wife of Austin J. Huang, graduating with a Master of Science in Accounting. Lena K. Huang, sister of Austin J. Huang, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Global Supply Chain Management. Brandon Robert Vance. Davis James Patterson. Ian Lee. Bryce McKay Pearson. Brian J. Rasmussen. Aaron Michael Roger Fierstead. Nelson Whitney. Mitchell Stephen Foote. Jared Lee Haviland. Trevor Kenneth Howell. Brian Ray Otte. Nathan Newt Taylor Black. Eric Reuben Fletcher. Jordan Monroe Mattingly. Haley Rochelle Brogan. Dallin Robert Clayton. Justin Jacob Bruner. Jason Eli Rodriguez. Bryn Louise Rodriguez, wife of Jason Eli Rodriguez, graduating with a Bachelor of Arts in Art. Leslie Adriana Stewart, sister of Jason Eli Rodriguez, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Landscape Management. Kyle James Stewart, brother-in-law of Jason Eli Rodriguez, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering. Stephanie Brown. Ilyana Ratamirov Priya Heaton. John Ray Lund. Ryan Scott Penfold. Christian Earl Arnold. Samuel Nephi Lister. Daniel John Bloom. Alexander Joshua Gilly. Tyler Kirkman Udy. Trevor Michael Lyman. Bryant McKay Hinton. John Mark Bollinger. Jarrett Michael Iverson. Jared Scott Rydalch. Joshua Blake Campbell. Robert Donover Hanna. Edward Andre Portela Portela. Joshua James Stevens. Matthew Tays. Jeremy Michael Keith. Jeff Lewis. Jackson Danielle Keeler. Allison Brianne Walk. Seth Paul Johnson. Andrew James Olson. Gabriel Alfredo Zapata Neira. Alexander Charles Neville. Jeffrey P. Hilton. Garrett Brennan Wilhelm. Connor Randall Wilhelm. Max Remington Bassett. Tanner Bud Craner. Bradley Craig Carter. Abram Milo Beezer. Derek Ryan Mines. Kyle Christopher March. Daniel Robert Mercer. Peter Birch Strine. Enoch Elam Stewart. Justin Lee Banky. Jordan David Farrell. Kip Schaefer Hacking. Joshua David Downs. Dallin Stiles Pulsiver. Jacob Richard William Huffaker. Brennan Joseph Mitchell. Savannah Sue Mitchell, wife of Brennan Joseph Mitchell, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Exercise and Wellness. Christopher Gerald Bradshaw. Dustin Thomas Santiago Watkins. Caden Daniel Noonish. Sierra Nicole Davis. Nathan Augustine Geronimo. Chandler Jason Clement. Michaela Carol Clement, wife of Chandler Jason Clement, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Elementary Education. Andrew Christian Tate. Joseph Thomas Bills. Madeline Michelle Brown. Lindsay Janice Steinhorst. Emily Chandler Morrow. Christopher McKeon Krieger. Caden Barlow. Rachel Barlow. Clark Willis Sandholtz. John Clayton Coleman. Jacob Michaelis. McKay Addison Ann Michaelis. Brandon Patrick. Sean Ping Lee. Michael Alfred Little. Cade Daniel. Jacob Lee Davis. Tatum Brooke Sims. Landon Asher Smith. Katie Charisse Smith. Hector Alonzo Murillo Ibarra. Joel David Stoker. Charles Caleb Dean Tolley. Benjamin Howard Davis. Torstein Calvin Collette. Kenneth Brady Stocks. That concludes our bachelor's degrees in computer science.
Receiving bachelor degrees in geological sciences. Omar Ahmad. Tober Dean Dyrich. Tara Ashley Nye. Andrew Vaughn Thomas. Jana Thomas Elwood, sister of Andrew Vaughn Thomas, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics. Tia Mezaraka. Lindsay Ruth War. Vimar Gabriela Vasquez Arieta. Rachel Elizabeth Drupa. Emma Nicole Flukiger Ebeling. Aaron William Ebeling, husband of Emma Nicole Flukiger Ebeling, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Sociology. Thane Richard Kindred. Samuel Gregory Martin. Julie Anna Martin, wife of Samuel Gregory Martin, graduating with a Bachelor of Science in Teaching Physical Science. Chelsea Ann Samuelson. Courtney Jean Chittister. Sarah Carol Jean Jardine. Emily Alexandra Johnson. That concludes our bachelor's degrees in geological sciences.
Would you please join me in congratulating all of our graduates from all of the departments recognized today? And I think it only fitting and appropriate, graduates, for you to take a moment and stand and express your appreciation to all of those who supported your journey to this point in your educational career. Thank you. The successful graduation of our students and of this convocation is due in large part to the efforts of Shane Jorgensen and Brooke Anderson of our College Advisement Center and the many students in our office who have provided so much support. Will you please join me in recognizing them as they stand? We ask that the audience and graduates remain seated until after the closing prayer until the faculty have completed their exit from this room. Following the faculty and administration, we invite the audience to remain seated as the graduates exit the room. After the graduates have exited, we invite you to meet your graduate in the garden court area at the back of this ballroom. By meeting in the garden court area, you will help us keep the hallway clear for those who are trying to pass through the area. We remind the graduates that rented gowns and hoods should be returned soon afterward to the upper level of the BYU store. As an added incentive, those who return their gowns and hoods to the BYU store, wait on it, will receive a free alumni license plate cover. Yep. Oohs and ahs everywhere. If you are unsure of the location for receptions, please note those locations on the back of your program. The closing prayer for our ceremony today will be offered by Tara Ashley Nye, who has just graduated with a bachelor's degree in geological sciences and a minor in physics. Tara.
Dear Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for helping us to all be here today. We thank Thee for helping us all over the past few years to be able to get these degrees that we have all worked so hard for. Please help us as we leave this campus and enter different parts of our lives, that we'll be able to continue to have Thy Spirit to be with us and to be able to have the courage and the strength to pursue all the dreams that we would like to accomplish. Please bless those who are not able to be here today, and please bless all of our families and our friends. We're so grateful for all that Thou hast done for us. And we love Thee and we say these things. In the name of Jesus Christ, amen.